Deontay Bay, peace and blessings to the collective. This is the birth chart of Swami Prabhupada. It's a lot of controversy surrounding his name. This guy has definitely said some wild shit throughout his lifetime. Some wild ass shit, some shit that you just can't look past. You feel me? Um, but I'm not here to shit on his name. I'm not here if you happen to be a follower of Prabhupada. I'm not here to demonized or to make him out to be just the evilest personality that ever lived, right? Merely just wanted to look at his chart, the controversy surrounding his name or some of the things that he might have said, and to basically see on a basic level, uh did this guy have real guru capability, or was he just fraud, like an impersonator? Somebody who's just, you feel me, fulfilling the role of a guru in order to benefit their own ego and personality. But getting to it, right? So this birth chart, and I'm just doing it on a general level. I'm not touching to the entirety of the chart itself. I'm not going into the different divisional charts. I'm not going into the dasha sequence. You feel me? I'm not going into planetary strengths. I'm just off of the face level birth chart, and how it speaks to the life of the native, right? Is this the chart of an individual who's truly a spiritual guide, or who's truly spiritually perceptive, right? So, uh, with the eighth house alone, the Jupiter, Ketu, Sun, and Leo, right? You definitely can very much so say that, whether right or wrong, this is definitely an individual who is oriented towards, spiritual experience and understandings. You know what I'm saying? And because actually it's in Leo, and it's the Sun and Jupiter here, and accompanied with Ketu, is going to be of a more sattvic, or at least of a more seemingly sattvic calling, right? Of a truthful calling, a dharmic calling, one who wants to uphold the traditional, uh, ancient wisdoms ingrained within your particular section of society, or your particular culture, you know what I'm saying, your particular heritage, your particular background, right? Your particular lineage, you feel me? The Sun, Jupiter, and Ketu, and Leo can definitely recognize, or can definitely showcase somebody who is a spiritual and an earthly authority, a landlord, if you will, a overseer, somebody, a supervisor, somebody with that power, with that authority, with that ability to supervise, to lead others, to give instruction to others, to disseminate, or delegate tasks to others, to lead others in a righteous and a dharmic direction. You feel me? To maintain the ancient customs and the traditions, you feel me, the ways of religion, and yada yada yada, etc., for the benefit and the welfare of the culture, the tradition, you know what I'm saying, the descendants and the people and whatnot. And Prabhupada pretty much fulfilled that role, in a big way. Not only that, his ascendant Lord being in the 10th house, 10th Lord being in the ninth house, especially, like, his his marketing of a lot of that ancient text, or being able to distribute, you feel me, the ancient text and the ancient scriptures, you feel me, worldwide, and making, I guess you could say, not modernizing it, but what's the word I'm looking for? Basically making it more popular and more available, you know what I'm saying, on a worldwide scale and whatnot, you feel me? Bringing the teachings of uh Sanatana Dharma, or you feel me, the Bhagavad Gita, you feel me, the Bhagavatam, the different, scriptural texts within the Vedic system and whatnot, bringing more awareness around these things, and making these things more popular in the world. Prabhupada very much so was one of the was a strong figure for that, for sure, undoubtedly. And and what he's pushing, can't argue that he's pushing for clean living, clean lifestyle, righteous lifestyle, dharmic lifestyle, holistic lifestyle. He's pushing for wisdom. He's pushing for people to go back to Godhead, right? Uh, but when it comes to, I guess, certain darker expressions of his character, let's just start off with certain things that he said that's very wild, right? Guy definitely was a racist. This is probably the wildest shit this is definitely the wildest shit that I've come across. Why Srila Prabhupada wrote Woman Likes a Man Who Was Very Expert at Rape. Try to find the exact talk, couldn't find it, but you can look this up for yourself in a variety of different sources, and you know what I'm saying. Informations that come up, as to Prabhupada being linked to saying, that women basically like to be raped or whatnot, which is, it's just wild. Like it's undoubtedly, you know, non-dharmic. It's undoubtedly, just his own bias or conditioning in his own way, right? And side note, I'm not at all condoning what he said. You feel me? But if you happen to be a follower of Prabhupada, if you happen to be a one who adheres to his teachings, and you feel me, his commentaries, I will say you must understand that you can't necessarily expect any guru to be perfect. You feel me? And you can't necessarily expect to follow any guru's teaching 100%. That's just my belief. That's just what I believe, right? Because a guru in itself is still a person. That's not this. A guru isn't necessarily, Godhead, or you feel me, beyond the influence of Maya or duality. A guru is not necessarily somebody who, has eradicated all of their karmas, or you feel me, is extremely self-realized, no stain, no nothing within itself, in relation to holding belief in illusion, right? That's not necessary. That's not the truth. Okay, even Lord Shiva, when he came into contact with the Mohini avatar, so much of a lust and desire for the Mohini avatar arise within him, he lost complete control of his sensual capacity, and he took the Mohini avatar by force. So that's to say, like, if you can have such a self-realized and regulated being such as Lord Shiva lose control of his senses, you know what I'm saying? Someone who's way beyond, the limitations of humanity, a human expression. How could you expect any better out of somebody like Prabhupada, or somebody like any of the gurus of or teachers of our modern time or whatnot, right? It's not to condone their actions. It's not to say that you should just turn a blind eye, or you should just not pay attention to the non-dharmic teachings that they may express. But ultimately, you must understand this guy is still a human. You feel me? So, when Prabhupada says shit like this, don't just believe, oh, we have to believe, whatever the guru says is true, and we just have to submit, and he's right, and I just don't understand. Like, no, you can't take that type of mentality. That mentality will lead you further away from your spiritual journey than it will, lead you to what you're trying to go to, right? But this is some wild shit, Prabhupada. This is some very fucking wild shit to say. He said, the homosexual appetite of a man for another man is demoniac and is not for any sane male in the ordinary course of life. I can't say I agree. I mean, I can't say I disagree with what he's saying right here. Can't say I disagree. Won't say I agree. Won't say I agree or disagree. You feel me? But definitely very much so in today's age and time. This is some wild shit to say. It's very discriminatory. And ultimately, if you're going to hold the belief that, we are beyond the body and beyond the physicality, can't necessarily get into that type of discrimination. But I'm going to leave it at that. And some funny shit that nigga said, but I can't actually, some funny shit that I've heard that he has said, but I can't actually find the fucking, I guess the link for it on the internet. This nigga somebody said that he, shit. Gays are born from the ass of Lord Brahma. That is the funniest shit I've ever fucked. That is crazy, Prabhupada. That is crazy. But let me get on. All right. This is Vedic civilization, plain living, high thinking, and poor thinking, poor in thought, poor in behavior, and living with motor car and this, that nonsense. It is all nonsense civilization. A first class Rolls Royce, and who was sitting there? A third class Negro. This is going on. You'll find these things in Europe and America. This is going on. A first class car and a third class Negro. I mean, and the, one of the ways that I see is the reason behind this type of uh judgmental or foolishly critical thought process, right? It's definitely the debilitated Venus, and I'll touch on that later. But for the sake of what he's saying right here, he's basically saying it's a problem with first class cars being driven by Negroes, like because Negroes are third class and less than, and it's like, bro, if you're again, if you're going to hold the notion that this is duality, this is physicality, we are beyond the body, we are beyond duality, we are beyond physicality, you feel me? You are the Atma, you are the self, you are one in union with the Supreme, you feel me? This is false. How can you hold a completely contradicting belief that a Rolls Royce physical car matters and that Negroes are less than, like, you feel me? A physical Negro is less than. How can you hold that self same belief within your brain or within your psyche? It's complete cognitive dissonance. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it's wild, but again, not to shit on them. You feel me? It's gonna be fine. I mean, it ain't just Prabhupada. You feel me? It's a number of people, right? Uh, But yeah, getting on. So Sudra is to be only controlled. They are never to be given freedom. Just like in America, the blacks were slaves, they were under control. And since you have given them equal rights, they are disturbing, most disturbing, always creating a fearful situation, uncultured and drunkards. What training they have got? They have got equal right. That is best to keep them under control as slaves, but give them sufficient food, sufficient cloth, not more than that. Then they would be satisfied. It's like, yeah, bro, it's like, and I'm black as hell, but I ain't taking no I ain't taking no offense to this, but I mean this I mean you this is just undeniably not a good way of thought thinking, It's just undeniably uh not a holistic thought path, or I would say not a spiritual thought path. Again, like, and that's the problem with the eighth house situation that he got going on. The sun, Jupiter, sun being the king. In that Leo energy, sun can often have a high degree of ego within itself, especially with Jupiter being Stambhana. And K2 is Stambhana, funny enough, by Jupiter as well. Uh, but it can give a person a good degree of ego in the sense of them believing themselves to be higher than or better than others, holier than thou, entitled. You know what I'm saying? Believing in hierarchy, believing in social rank, classifications, caste system, things of that nature and whatnot, right? And like it's the king. The king believes in the caste system. The king could look at a Sudra, could look at somebody less than, and regard them as nasty or regard them as dirty or whatever you want to call it. But the ultimate truth is we are all from the self same supreme personality of Godhead. We all are from the Most High. We all are creations of, you know what I'm saying, the source consciousness. So it's like, how can you hold again a completely contradicting belief within yourself that you are better or that you are less than this Sudra? You feel me? Or you are better than, or you are less than, this other personality and whatnot. Right? It's completely opposing, but Another side note, that's the thing about the birth chart or the human persona in general. It's so many differing factors. Is that the planetary positions are kind of scattered, and you might have oppositions, and you might have squares, and you feel me? You know, uh, certain levels of disharmony within a chart, which create disharmony within the personality, within the being, and within the persona. And you feel me? It can arise or show in the personality as crazy, bipolar, scattered, cognitive dissonance, and we all have it. We all, showcase those expressions in some way, shape, or form. You feel me? Some individuals just do more so than others, right? Some individuals are just more perceptibly crazy on the external level than others. You right? So I just say that to say, like, you can't again necessarily expect this human being who was a spiritual teacher or a guru, or one who was oriented in pursuing dharma and to teaching dharma to the world. You can't necessarily expect them to abide that in a 100% way. They should, but ultimately it's humanity, right? So here, this man was cheating. He was dressed like a king, just like king is very gorgeously dressed. But his bodily feature, he was a black man. The black man means Sudra. I mean, so Sudra is black. So if a Brahmana becomes black, then he is not accepted as a Brahmana. And if a Sudra becomes fair, then he's to be known that he's not a pure Sudra. Sudra's slave servant, you know what I'm saying, if you want to call it. Uh, this is the thing, bro, and it's crazy because it's like it's really crazy because it's Prabhupada was scripturally proficient, so I'm more than certain that he's come across certain scriptures that have challenged his belief and his outlook on reality, but uh even in that, like, right, it's just crazy how a person can be so ingrained into their own way of seeing reality or believing reality, or what I'm saying, their discrimination of reality, that they'll even defy scriptures and not even knowing they do it. It happens all the time throughout the various religious systems. You know what I'm saying? There's gay pastors out here, you know what I'm saying? And niggas who completely believe that shit is righteous, that shit is fine, it's nothing wrong with it. And it's in the Bible. If a man is to lay with another man, you shall be put to death. I don't know if it say that exactly, but the Bible doesn't agree with homosexuality. But it's pastors who do that shit and believe that shit is 100% right. It's people who go against scripture and believe that they're 100% in accordance with scripture. It happens all the time. So not just attacking Prabhupada, I'm just pointing out shit, for the sake of this particular video. But yeah, back to what I was saying about the Sudras shit. Like, if what he's saying about Sudras is true in relation to their skin color being in correlation to their caste system, it's like, if that's the case, Krishna should have been a Sudra. Sukadeva Goswami should be a Sudra. Who else? Kali should be a Sudra. Vyasadeva, it's like, and many more personalities who should be Sudras, or who should be low class, or who should be regarded as dirty and less than, but they're not. Very much so, extremely highly respected and admirable personalities. And I'm sure Prabhupada would have come across, these understandings, but I don't know. It's even crazy how, Krishna was referenced to be a dark-skinned being, but, the modern-day interpretation or depictions of Krishna is like light blue. It's wild. It's a complete disrespect and a complete defiance of what is actually contained within the scriptures. But that's just to show the a particular conditioning of humanity, to where even though we want to believe that, oh, we love Dharma so much, or oh, we want to do the right thing and follow the right way in our tradition and the culture and law. It's like, even though we believe that, a lot of the times people still follow what the fuck they want to do, you know, and just like delude themselves into believing that they're still following the right path or the right way. It's crazy, you know. It's real wild. Sudras have no brain is just an insane statement to start off with, bro. Like, that's like, you could have said anything else. Maybe you could have plugged that in a little later, and maybe the people would have better accepted that teaching. But to start off with, Sudras have no brain is just factually, that's crazy. In America, also, the whole America once belonged to the Red Indians. Why they could not improve, the land was there. Why these foreigners, the Europeans, came and improved. So Sudras cannot do this. They cannot make any correction. Again, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't necessarily know the true history of the Americas, and the political positionings, or the government structure of the Indians before the quote unquote Indians, before the white man had the quote unquote white man came over here, right? He doesn't know the Europeans pretty much copy and pasted, implemented their whole government system from brain fart, my fault. I know he pretty much doesn't know that the Europeans came over here and pretty much copy and pasted the whole government system from the Iroquois Confederacy, the five civilized tribes, which were actually nations. They were recognized as civilized nations. You feel me? This isn't me just saying things that sound, that sound good, or that make Indians out to be a greater people or whatever. This is actual factual, documented history that you can find within congressional records or whatnot. You can find pretty much all over the place. Many great people in history have referenced, the importance of the Indian and their governmental structure into pretty much being the backbone of the Constitution. The Articles of Confederation and these different documents and things like that, right? So it's not that the Indians, I guess you say, lacked intelligence or the ability to improve or make correction. It's more so that the Indians were more of a peaceful mindset and allowed the European to inhabit certain territories within this land. And the European repeatedly and disrespectfully so defied, disrespected, illegally, went against certain regulations and rules stated in certain treaties. It used biological warfare to reduce the population of the Native Americans. Used a lot of underhanded means and lies, deception, and falsities to pretty much colonize this country over time. As they have done throughout various places within the world or whatnot. It's not like they just came over and just saw Indians as dumb niggas and just had to take over. That's not the story. It pretty much was a very much so corrupt operation from the start. But I don't think Prabhupada would know that, But the judgment to just assume based off of, I guess, what you're fed through the news or what you see on TV, that these people are just dumb or just ignorant and Sudra and lowly and less than, and they don't just whatever, like it's just dumb to jump to those conclusions. Now, what is that type of mentality signified by, at least within this chart? Well, that mentality period, that judgmental personality, that critical personality, the personality who discriminates in a dirty way or in an ugly way, against others, right? Weakened Venus, especially debilitated Venus, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't make it any better that it's in the ninth house, right? So the debilitated Venus, you can find value in valueless things and concepts, uh like Gucci, Prada, Versace, the name brand versus the non-name brand. Ultimately, the clothing comes from the same fucking materials. Ultimately, a lot of the times, the non-name brand, the $15 shirt or the $25 pair of shoes or whatever uh uh can be even can be made of better materials, or can be, the material value of those products can be even better than the Gucci, the Louis, the Versace, or the whatever the fuck, right? But just because, you know these name brand products, the Celine, the Fendi, all that, just because it's name brand and just because the public looks at it a certain way, it's seen as having a higher rank socially. It's seen as being more worthy and whatnot. And a person will be disgusted, or feel it's dirty to wear some broke, you know what I'm saying, name brand shit, or to be around a certain group of people. Those people are low, those people, low class, they're not sophisticated, they're ignorant, they're this, that, and the third. We should be separate from those. And that can also be seen within the Venus, the inability to understand another person's plight and another person's condition, and the inability to see self within another. The inability to make that union can be signified by a weakened or wounded Venus. Shukracharya within the scriptures, uh, with him being the guru of the demons, right? He took that position because I forget exactly what happened within his youth, but I forget whether it was Sage Briggle or another personality. Briggle was his father. I forget exactly who it was, but basically Shukracharya, he experienced a rejection in his youth, and it hit him so deeply. He didn't want to become the person who, uh, how do you call it, would basically reject others. He became a very liberal personality. Very much so accepting of others, understanding of others, doesn't discriminate, doesn't feel like I'm better than you or you're better than me, or all of these other things. Very much so like a Libra type of personality, like Venus ruling the sign of Libra, which represents balance, which represents harmony, which represents coalition, or being able to get along with another, be at peace with another, white flag with another, right? Shukracharya is very much so a being of being able to be in unison, and to not judge a person for what they got going on. You feel me? Which is why he's able to, lead the demons, regardless of their quote unquote demonic status and whatnot, right? Because Shukracharya also understands, or Venus also understands, that the label doesn't necessarily correlate with the truth of the being. So what do I mean by that? Um, you have the gods, you have the devas, you have the demons, you have the asuras, right? These two opposing parties, but you have some gods like Indra. Indra did some very quote unquote demoniac acts, if you want to call it, right? Some very sinful acts, throughout his administration or whatnot, right? So it's like, what does it mean to be a god if you can do that? Shit, Zeus, of a whole different pantheon. You know what I'm saying? Zeus did a whole lot of shit, fucked a whole lot of hoes. You know what I'm saying? Killed a whole lot of people, sent a whole lot of people to hell wrongfully. It's like, you're wearing the title of God, but is it really aligning with the character of your person? You feel me? Uh, Going back to the Vedic tradition, you had a lot of people who were born into the demoniac family, but were great devotees of Lord Vishnu, were very pure personalities, right? Prahlad, Maharaj, right? Even Bali, King Bali Maharaj, right? You know, can be acquainted to a real saintly personality. Who else? The Was it Chitragupta? Chitragupta. He incarnated into. I think he was the destroyer of Shiva, or one of the creations of Shiva. No, it was Vishwakarma. Somebody killed. I gotta get back into the stories, man. I haven't been into the I haven't been into the scriptures for so long. It's crazy. But Vishwakarma was mad. He was really fucking mad because somebody wrongfully killed his son. I believe it was Indra, and he wanted to get revenge. So he created a demon, which I believe the demon's name was Virata. It might have been, which is the incarnation of Chitragupta. Uh, it's a whole lot of shit. That's a whole tangent. Fuck what I'm just saying. I know like a million of y'all niggas ready to correct me right now, but fuck all the shit I was talking about, right? Uh, that's pretty much my video on Srila Prabhupada and his birth chart analysis. I didn't really analyze the chart. Just that 1/8 house placement, but peace to y'all. Y'all be easy.